Yeah, safe, honey. Tell your baby daddy to find bitches here. Hello, everybody. I'm Alex,
And I'm Mary,
and this is
lawyering out loud.
a podcast about life, lawyering, and
All the things we're mad about.
alrighty. So, before we get into what we're mad about, can we do a little temperature check? How you doing, friend?
Yes, I'm great. I'm actually in Georgia. You see me in my little Zamure dress. Look at the background. The air is different. My skin is skinning. I mean, you know how it is when I'm in Georgia.
Sound
Um,
like you're ready to move over here.
ma'am, and
Well,
I will.
and Georgia did me well, so
It did do you well. So, is it a possibility? Correct, it is. I'm out here on vacation, rest, visiting family and friends. Today we're gonna do a little cookout. I've been resting, girl, very much needed. This week at work was same old, stressful, but having this to look forward to made it, that much easier to get through. And now I'm enjoying it. I didn't even bring my work laptop, which is huge for me because I usually always carry it around as a safety blanket, but I didn't even bring it. So I'm disconnecting.
nice. I'm super proud of you, friend.
Friend, and you?
Well, this week was great. As you know, for a little while, the hustle and bustle of private practice was a little too much for me. So I had gotten myself a little nonprofit job. This week I quit um, because the revolution will not be funded and these nonprofit places are trash. And my former workplace was toxic and anti-black AF.
Mm.
So I said deuces to them people, and I'm home.
Yeah.
I am home, and this is Black Pride weekend in Atlanta. There are parties, events, everything all over the city, and I've been going to them and having a good old time.
Oh, I see. We gonna post it on since this episode is called what?
Ooh, this episode is called Scrolling Out Loud. It's a little cutesy episode that we thought about. We're like, you know what's fun? We always go through what we see on our phone and talk about it. Why not record it for the people? So y'all gonna get to see our reactions to the we find on our page, on our timeline.
Because we usually do this. Like when you and I jump on calls or we FaceTime each other, this is usually what we do. Like we talk stuff and then out of nowhere we start going through our phones and then we'll be like, girl, look at that. And that is our back and forth. So we're like, you know what, this might be interesting for our viewers.
Yes.
The first thing that popped up on my Instagram was you out in these streets last night.
I was having a good old time. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I was like, I don't think I have nightlife in me anymore now that I'm older. Last night proved to me I still don't, but I could try.
And I love that for you.
Had a good old time.
Good. I love that for you.
I low key fell asleep in the club, but we won't talk about that. I did fall asleep. Yeah, I
I'm gonna
did.
use your full name, Alexandra.
I did fall asleep. Yeah,
You did not fall asleep. You represent our brand. This is
ma'am,
what you represent. Us
ma'am,
falling asleep in the club.
ma'am. Our brand is about rest. Me falling asleep in the club is on brand.
Our brand is not.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Talk about staying ready, so I don't have to get ready.
Okay, so I guess you were on brand.
I sure was. I sure was. Y'all gonna put me in a club with 20 some year olds at 2 in the morning. What do you expect? What do you expect?
But also, when you and I talked around 10:30, 11, you were still working. So the real question is, you know that us older folks got to prepare by taking a nap earlier in the day. Why you was still working instead of
Well,
napping?
You went wrong. You went
Okay.
wrong. I set myself up for
Yes.
this outcome. And also, you know, as you get older, things that might have been embarrassing for you back in the days are no longer embarrassing.
Such as
I felt no kind of way about falling asleep. Yo, I was like, damn, I wish I had a pillow. Like, if I had a pillow, I would have put it right there on the wall and lean my head on it and just go at it. Like, I didn't get to who saw me sleeping.
But you know what? I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you for still going out.
Yes.
I'm proud of you for participating, friend.
Thank you.
Because your
A
usual
for effort.
to stay inside.
Exactly. A for effort, F for delivery. But it's okay.
Correct. Correct. That's accurate. That's accurate.
Exactly. So, Mary, let's jump into our episode. I think we did quite a bit of a temperature check. You're on my side of the country, in my state, my stomping grounds. That are
And
not stomping
we
clearly.
meet tomorrow.
Huh?
And we're meeting up tomorrow.
Oh yes, we are. Oh yes, we are. We're gonna have fun. This week is a good week, right?
I feel like it was.
Yeah. And we're gonna keep the podcast in that like good vibe because actually this week we are gonna do good updates about stories we once were very mad about.
Hmm.
It's kind of cool, right? I'm going to kick us off with my favorite story. And number one story on the list was Mary being mad about Beyonce not being at the DNC.
Womp, womp, womp.
The update, folks, is Beyonce's still not at DNC. And I like that for me because y'all know how I feel about the DNC. But my two favorite rap girlies got a shout out for Beyonce on her IG. And I love that for me. I saw the picture of Miss Glorilla and Meg the Stallion with Beyonce in their little all white, and it brought joy to my heart. And I said, you know what? Even though my homegirl ain't see Beyonce, at least my homegirls in my dreams did. My cousins in my head.
I was ready for this all white.
You were ready for your moment. So how do you feel, Mary? Are you mad? Do you feel like Beyonce should have called you? Like,
minimum called me to let me know I could have gone to sleep because she wasn't going to be at the DNC. Minimum.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
Thank you.
And you had your white dress. She could have invited you to that white party.
Hello. You know I stay ready with white outfits. I stay even past Labor Day. I don't care about Labor Day. My fashion choices are not based on exactly timeless and are not based on what other people tell me I can wear and cannot wear. I will be wearing white outside of Labor Day. So Beyonce, hit me up. Stay ready.
Yeah. So this is a good update because you and I are big Glorilla fans. We are Meg Stallion fans. So we were happy to see our girls who were fangirling about Beyonce as much as we do. They got a chance to spend time with her and be with her. And Beyonce, hit us up. We got white dresses too. Girl.
And I don't have at the moment, but I could get me some cowgirl boots.
Oh, girl, I do. Wait. We don't wear the same size, though. You won't be able to wear mine, but
girl, I'll stuff them with some socks.
Jeff Bezos could fix that. Not that we are promoting. This is not a promotion for, but 24-hour notice, girl. We'll get the sassy billionaire to take care of business. We can't stand him, but
he gets it done.
All righty. Mary, any other stories you want to do a little update about, or do you want me to run through the stories?
You could do it to a friend.
Okay.
Start by slapping me in the gut.
Yes. So the next story we are very, very mad about is, I don't know if y'all remember, but around the time that Donald Trump lost the last election, him and his asshole friends and folks in his circle, including Rudy Giuliani, former Esquire, started this very nasty rumor that poll workers in Georgia had rigged the election and essentially ruined these two Black women's lives. Well, these black women sued for defamation and won. And you know how much money they won, Mary?
How much?
$146 million against Rudy Giuliani.
Look at God.
And now my girl say, we want you to run us all of our cash. So even though at one point I was kind of pissed that Rudy Giuliani defamed and disrespected these women to the point where their children were not safe, they were not safe because stupid conspiracy theorists wanted to literally harm these women. Today, they're ready to cash in on their money. And as we know, Rudy Giuliani's attempt at bankruptcy to not pay them their judgment failed. So they want all their cash. How you feel about this story? This is a really great update.
Love that for them. Love that for the message that it sends. I love all of it. I'm here for it. Support it. Yes. Because if you want to be reckless, don't start no shit, won't be no. I mean, but can we also talk about the fact that the planets aligning for everything that has happened to Rudy Giuliani as of now, like getting disbarred, answered to this lawsuit, lost, having to now pay out these women, which I love. But then, like, just the whole embarrassment that he put himself through for what?
For Trump.
Couldn't be me. You don't remember when he was outside of a place and he was sweating his hair color out and he was just
and I think like this is a lesson on like being like a loyalist, like being overly zealous to folks, because Rudy Giuliani had no business doing half of the things he did for this man. Like, what is the gain for him in this? Like, what was so important for you to risk your livelihood, your bar license, your reputation? I mean, I don't think any black folks would say that Rudy Giuliani was like the best mayor for black people or whatnot. But once upon a time, he was a well-respected person. Like,
yeah.
He was a well-respected politician. Did he have his flaws and was there issues during his administration? For sure. I mean, a lot of people blame him for like the rise of stop and frisk arrests in New York and a lot of discriminatory police practices. But nevertheless, he never was in line to go down that bad. And to go down this bad behind this man is wild.
Okay, this man who is still not as down bad as you. Like you realize, you get what I'm saying? Like you went this hard for this man who is still going, and meanwhile you're paying the consequences of the actions that you did for this man. Like that's just couldn't be me. Couldn't be me, friend.
Mm-hmm. And also, I am the queen of thoughts and prayers, and he is a Republican. We know all they always have to offer is thoughts and prayers, never solutions. So why couldn't you send this man your thoughts and prayers? Why couldn't you send? Now you out here, you gotta pay $150 million, and I'm not saying Rudy Giuliani is broke, but I know he ain't got no $150 million.
How you know that?
I mean, where would he get it from, Mary? I mean, he could fundraise, but I don't think he got $50 million in assets.
How you know that? I don't put. Do you know how much power? How many people tried to access Trump through him that probably paid him out?
You know what? Yeah, Let me shut my mouth. Let me talk about the things that I know. The only thing I would say is this: if he has the $150 million, I am thrilled because that means my about to get paid.
Check that offshore counts, cause bet money he got a little something over there.
Listen to me. If you stand to collect a $150 million payout, my hope is you got a forensic accountant looking for everywhere in every country.
Thank you.
I hope so. I hope they definitely got somebody looking into where and how he's hiding his money. I know the man is not broke. I just thought he ain't had no 150, but like you said, he may. So I hope they got somebody digging and looking.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I hope they do.
Mhm. Yes. So going from two fabulous Black women who are about to get paid to one fabulous Black girl with an amazing update, I'll tell you this. I cannot for the life of me understand the obsession with on Angel Reese. I do not know why people don't like Angel Reese, but I think it goes back to something you and I talk about all the time is how people are obsessed with trying to humble Black women. And Angel can't be humble. And she shouldn't be humble. Like, Angel Reese is that bitch.
Okay, hear me out.
Mm.
The people that hate on Angel Reese give the same energy of the people that hate on Haitian people. You know how Haitian people get that hate of like, why are you so proud? Your country's so poor, blase, 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 blase. And Haitian people, like, at least the people that I've known and like the people that I've met when I've gone, Haitian people can't be humbled. And they walk with their head held high. And people ask themselves all the time, why? It's giving me that same energy. People talk about Angel Reese and want to tear her down because they're like, why does she have this illusion of grandeur? Like, why does she think she's this great when she
Because
is?
she is. Literally because she is.
Period.
Yeah, it's definitely giving also the same hate that Sha'Carri was getting out as well.
Oh, period.
Like, there is definitely a thing with trying to humble Black women athlete. Like, Simone Biles went to a wave of it. Like, y'all just hate Black girls who are good.
Hmm.
And I love the fact that Angel Reese is consistently doing better. Like, she just stunting on you. I love this for me. She's stunting on them.
And you want to know something? I still feel she's too young, or like, yeah, still too young to even be obviously at her fullest potential. So I honestly feel like as of right now, she's not even really trying. Wait till she gets to a place in her career, in her life, physical, spiritual, and all of the above. Like, if y'all thought now was it, I feel like she hasn't even tapped into half of her power.
Yes. She got a podcast. She made WNBA history. And all of you is made. People really like to hate on Angel. And what I like the most about this story is that Angel always gonna give y'all something to be mad about. So they just announced that Angel just broke the record as the rookie with the most double-double in WNBA history.
Wow.
Oh yeah. My bitch is not to be with. I'm telling you, y'all gonna stay mad. Y'all thought we were mad? Y'all gonna stay mad if y'all getting mad behind Angel Reese, because she gonna give y'all something to mad about. She done got herself a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And I know her gonna be fine. I just know her. I'm listening. I'm subscribing. Mm-hmm. She gonna have a Patreon, and I'm gonna be right on that. Yes, I'm gonna support my girl because I want y'all to remain me. Love it. I love it. Makes me so happy.
So that was an update on that one.
Yeah, so many good updates on some of the stories who infuriated us the most. I guess, Mary, we kind of lied to the people. Did we lie to the people?
Did we lie to the people? What did we lie to the people about?
We lied because we're still mad. We still mad. We don't scroll and got real mad. Do you have a story you mad about?
Yes, girl. So, have you heard about Alex Earl, the influencer?
Not with my name.
Okay. Yeah. Alex with IX. ALIX.
Okay. I knew she had to be different.
So she's
What
a beauty influencer. She's fairly young. She went to University of Miami, and her whole content was on like being a college student in Miami and being out, and people loved her. Some of her old tweets from when she was about 13, 14 came out, and they're tweets where she's seen using racial slurs.
She was using the N-word?
Yes, ma'am.
What's her race?
She's white. Correct. She's from New Jersey.
How long ago was this? How old is this girl?
She's like
No,
23.
no, no,
She's
no.
23.
That's Gen Z, right?
But here's a problem. I think this is the real problem. Number one, this started circulating a few weeks ago. She didn't say anything until this weekend. She put out a video, right? With that being said, there was another podcast that tried to, talk about this whole fiasco. And they claim that they got a cease and desist letter from someone who pretended to be her attorney and told them that they had copyrighted the racist tweets or racist posts that she had created, and therefore they were not allowed to use them, and they would have to take down anything that they wrote about her.
Well, let me ask you something. Why are you saying that they are pretending to be her attorney?
Great question, Alex. So apparently, right now that Alex came out with a response weeks after everything has been coming out, she said that going the route of copywriting the racist tweets sounds crazy and ridiculous, and that her and her team have not done that, but that she doesn't know who reached out to this podcast about them legally having the rights on it, so having to remove all the content that they used against her.
Okay, I don't believe her. I don't believe her. I don't believe. But also, like, there's something you said that I'm like, I don't know, because you were like, oh, she took so long to respond. Does that matter?
You know what? I think had she addressed it maybe before it even came out and said, like, there's growth, blah blah. Her response though was very much like, that's not who I am, that's not how I speak. And those kind of responses always make me feel a certain kind of way, because I'm like, but it was at some point, so just like own up to it, acknowledge it. If you say like, that's not how I am anymore, I feel like, and there's actions to back that up, I feel like that's better than you just not saying anything and then rumors circulating that you're out here trying to copyright the content so that people can't write about it. That's crazy stuff. And at the same time, I kind of want to speak to someone in the copyright field to see how that would go.
I don't know that Black people give a shit about the timing of whatever she said. Apology not accepted. We don't give a who you are now, who you were then. I don't know that she needed to have come out and talk about it. I think like a lot of people on the internet are dishonest about the fact that most white people are raised to be racist. Most of them are racist, and a lot of people, white people, have used the N-word in their youth and their old age. Like, she's a racist. That's fine. I mean, there's room for her in America. This is a racist country. She's fine. I don't know. I don't know that there's a fuss to be made about what she said, what she didn't say, what she did, and what she did not do.
Well, I think the fuss came with her silence and the whole circulation of her team copywriting the tweets.
No, I think that as a culture, like, we need to move away from these like reactionary, like, excessive bullshit. This is an attention seeking whore who would say anything for attention, who has always been this way, and y'all giving her attention. Okay? Nothing about that woman made anybody believe, from what I have read, because I just peeped on the internet and on her page. I've not seen a single Black person on her page. I mean, this is a bitch that lives in Miami. It's not like she's living in like Midwest America, okay? You're in Miami with a whole bunch of non-white immigrants. Yeah, all her friends are white. Everything on her page is white. She don't need to tell y'all she don't like niggas. Don't.
Okay, but here's the other thing though. School that she goes to is very not reflective of the real Miami.
Miami experience is what it is for whoever makes it. Like I lived in Miami. I never had white friends because
Correct.
I
But
spoke
that's what I'm saying. But we also went to a school that was heavily influenced with Caribbean presence. Like, you know what I mean?
like you see what you want to see.
Right.
Every friends I have that are attorneys in Miami are UM grads. They're all black. Like there are plenty black people at UM. She's not seeking them out because
Right.
she's a racist. Because she's a racist. Yeah. That's where my issue comes into play. It's not that I am okay with the things that she said, but it's like we need to stop giving people who spend their life seeking attention being for doing and being exactly who we know them to be.
Mm.
Yes, there is a way you could live in Miami and never interact with black people and never interact with folks of color and create a bubble that revolves around whiteness. That's not impossible to do in Miami. It's not.
Right.
Do you have to try really hard to do that? Yes.
Mm.
Can you be successful in doing that if you're a racist? Yes. Would you be using the N-word on Twitter if you're a racist? Yes. Everything about that woman lines up with somebody who says she only posted it on the internet. Listen to me. She posted it on the internet. The man she's with says it in his home. Her friends say it in their circles. She's only catching heat because she posts on the internet. They all feel the same way. You don't date or befriend a racist and not be a racist, okay?
Mm.
Like, please understand that this outrage that we're having, what needs to happen is that people needs to start glorifying these influencers and things like that. This woman lives a life that most of us don't live. Most of us don't live that life. We have nothing in common with that woman, including the fact that she hates black people. So y'all need to stop acting like y'all friends with these people on the internet. That woman never gave y'all a reason to believe she gave a fuck about black people. Why the hell y'all shocked that she's a racist? I don't know. Look at that woman's page. All I saw was like a sea of like people needing SPF, and all I saw was whiteness. Like, what are y'all talking about? It's not shocking that she's racist. She seeks out white people. Okay. I mean, actually, I want to go back to what I said because black people, y'all need SPF. Stop playing with
Correct.
me. Okay?
Correct.
Black people, y'all need SPF. Y'all need freaking sunscreen.
Mhm.
This is not an ad, but this is an ad because black girl sunscreen is the truth. Take your asses to Target and get some black girl sunscreen. We as people of color needs to tap into preserving our outrage for things that are deserving of outrage.
Mm.
There's nothing outrageous about this woman being racist. Everything about her screams of racism. Y'all gonna have to what? Apologize one time, apologize two times, apologize three times. Let me tell y'all something. Be mad about something that's substantial. Y'all not gonna change that woman. Okay, rant over. I'm done.
Okay. I think for me, what caught my attention about that story was their use of the legal system. And again, she came out yesterday for the first time and claimed that it wasn't true. But I would love to speak to someone in the copyright infringement, intellectual property law that could tell me how that would go if that were true.
Look, again, we don't know that it's not true.
Right, right.
One. And also, I'm pretty sure that you can copyright anything you write. I mean, she did write the racist shit. So I don't know why she couldn't try to copyright it. But also, like, what is her team supposed to do, right? I'm sure as a racist, she doesn't have black people on her team. She has probably a team of white people. They're not going to resign because they're probably all racist as well. They have to find something. They have to do something.
You know what? It's funny that you say that because one of the things that she said in her apology was I'm sorry that it took me so long to apologize. Unfortunately, the people that I was talking this out with gave me like the wrong, what do you call it?
Advice?
Advice, and I followed it when I knew I should have come out sooner, blah, blah. So of course she's even blaming those very people that, mind you, who weren't even around when she was 14, 13, 14.
You
But
know
yeah,
how I know she don't have no black friends and she don't have any black person in her circle? Because the way in which she apologized, she would have shown us the black person. She would have posted pictures of her with the black friend. I mean, these people are not innovative. When they have black friends, they post them when them scandals
I'm not
happen.
racist.
I have a resident Negro.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, she don't have no black friends. I hear what you're saying, but you grew up in Miami. I lived in Miami for a very long time. I don't think it's hard to build a circle of whiteness in Miami.
Mm.
I think that it's hard to not encounter people of color regularly.
Right.
But encountering people and ignoring them are two different things. The Miami Dolphins roster is extremely black.
It is.
But guess what she found? The one white one.
Well,
What y'all want us to do? But listen, before we go into lawyers in the news, I want to bring up a little story that I found on the internet that I
yes.
actually saw was so up, got me so worked up. Like, when I think about dating and cheating,
Mm.
there's a special place in me that enrages me in a way that, like, is so particular because I'm like, why do you don't just leave? So I don't know if you saw that story, and it was like shared over for somebody from somebody else's page.
Mm-hmm.
But this black girl was commenting on a story of a girl named Kristen Kelly who is pregnant and whose best friend went on vacation to Mexico with her man, and they ended up getting into some sort of car accident. So she found out that they had been together because of a GoFundMe that the best friend's family posted saying she was on vacation with Chris, who's this girl's man, and they got into a terrible car accident or motorcycle accident, whatever kind of accident it was in Mexico. And she's sitting at home, 34 weeks pregnant, completely distraught, and post about it on the internet. And I'll say this. I'm not saying that she should kill him, but I'm saying there are some episodes of Snap that I can see how got to where they got.
Right.
What you think about the story, Mary?
Ma'am, what? Oh no. Oh no. I am at a loss for words.
Yeah. And I was
So she lost her best friend and her literally child's father at the same time.
yeah, pretty much. Well, they're not dead.
Oh, they might as well be. They might
I
as well
mean,
be.
this decision
It's not
lies
about,
in her
I'm not
hands.
even talking about losing them to death.
And
Like,
what I'm
that's
telling
it.
you is the decision lies in her hands, right? At this point, you're gonna tell us this. Are they gonna be alive for long or not?
I'm shook.
Yeah. And I'm gonna have to read a little more about this story
Wow.
because remember we're just scrolling.
Right.
But I I want to know if she knew that he was even going to Mexico. Like, what lie did he tell her? Because I think I would have gotten suspicious if my man was like, "I'm going to Mexico," and my best friend was like, "Oh, I'm going to Mexico too," but completely unrelated. So she might not even have known that they were in the same place.
That's crazy.
She should run them over. I think that's the only correct thing to do. As a criminal defense attorney, what says you? Should she run them over or not?
Yeah. But then I don't want her to risk messing up her car. So let's find
She
another
has
way.
kids. She has other
Go to the
kids with
hospital
him.
and turn off the machine.
She has other kids with him. I think she has like 2 kids with him or 3 kids with him. This story angers me so much, but it's also so sad. Because it's
And then
like,
to go through that while you're pregnant.
yeah. And it's like, my kid's father got in a serious accident. I should give a
No.
but also this man is trash.
Correct.
But yeah, that story kind of pissed me off, particularly because her emotion looks so raw. Like, she just looks so distraught. And I think there's something about me seeing women in that state over
Ma'am.
men that makes me so angry.
Same.
And I'm like, I think we've all been there where it's
Yes.
like a trash ass man just has us down real bad, like has us down bad. But it makes me so angry to see women in that position.
I think it's because it takes me into a deep, not even just for myself, but ancestral place of like the women in my family having to deal with trash men. And then the relationships that I've had where I've had to deal with trash men, that it's exactly what you're saying. It angers me like beyond belief.
Yeah.
So then when you recognize it and you see it in that person, it breaks you. It's triggering. It's triggering.
For sure. I mean, I know we're going to talk about our dating history at some point in the future, but as you know, I was in a relationship with somebody who did the exact same thing, who traveled overseas with someone. I mean, lucky for him, nothing happened to him. Unfortunately for me, I guess. um, there's a certain level of betrayal that comes with really analyzing the extent to which somebody went to just a lie. Like, you really don't go overseas. You don't live the whole country.
Right.
Like, why?
I was having
Why
this
didn't she stop
conversation with
sleeping alone?
someone. Yes, I was having a conversation with someone that what pisses me off about men who do that is that, did you really think that I was so weak that I couldn't take you telling me that you no longer wanted to be with me? Like, whatever gave you the thought to be like, oh yeah, I can get away with this and get away with it to the point where if I get caught, she'll still be around. Like, that's what pisses me off.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that story, like, as I was scrolling and I saw that woman's face,
Mm.
I was like, this is a woman who's in a really bad place. This is not a woman who is doing well. And I can
And you
understand.
feel for that. Yeah.
I can understand why she's not well. But also to know that she's pregnant and going through all of that, it made me so mad for her.
Mm.
Um, so I think that's my last story that I saw on my timeline. I'm going to end that with that because honestly, I was like, I need to stop scrolling because we started out telling the people we ain't gonna be mad, and then we kept scrolling, and now I am like madder than ever.
Right.
I am more pissed off than ever. And our next story is going to bring us to our next segment,
Right.
which is Lawyers in the News. Mary, do you want to talk to us a little bit about Lawyers in the News?
Apparently, there was a field trip, not uncommon to take kids to the courthouse to see proceedings, especially I know I did it for Bring Your Child to Work Day. I brought my little niece, but this group of students went with their teacher for a program, a 3-week program on learning the legal system. And one of the students was dozing off, as could be. I have clients that doze off in court, so I don't even know how why they expect children to do anything different, right? So this child kept snoozing off, and the judge told her to go outside and wash her face and then come back. She did just that. When she came back, the judge ordered that the courthouse deputy arrest her, put her out back to change into jail clothes, had her wait 2 hours in confinement while her classmates were sitting in the courthouse, while he was calling the rest of his cases, and then brought her out at the end and made out this fake little trial while her classmates sat and watched her in a jail outfit and while he was podcasting on YouTube.
And he berated her.
Berated her. I think what is even more outrageous is that when they confronted him about it, he said he stood 10 toes down on it because it was her attitude that he didn't like. And he wanted to make sure that she didn't become a kid that would later on be in his courtroom. What he failed to recognize, had he done, some simple follow-up questions.
Well, hold on. Before we go on, this clown's name is Kenneth King.
Yes.
He's a judge in Michigan. Y'all answers need to make sure he never comes back to the bench again in Michigan. I'm looking at y'all in Michigan.
Disgusting.
Continue on.
But you know what's something else that we have to... I think what makes me even more upset is that he's a Black judge. It makes me more upset. The mom is suing the judge, infliction of emotional distress, like a whole bunch of other things.
A violation of constitutional rights. I mean, I can think of a lot of it, right? False imprisonment, unlawful seizure. I mean, was her lawyer present? Was her parents present? She was a minor.
Correct.
You arrested her.
Even crazier, which is what I was telling you, is that he stood 10 toes down and literally said that he would do anything to make sure that young kids learn a lesson so that they don't end up in front of him. And that it was her attitude that kind of like forced him to do that. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine? Which I can, because I've seen judges lose over somebody and their attitude. Like, that's not your measuring stick.
But she also did not have an attitude. Can we talk about that? She also did not have an attitude.
Can we also talk about the fact that she and her family are experiencing homelessness?
They are houseless,
One of the things that her mom was saying is that he kept berating her about, you get to go home and you get to sleep in your bed. There's no need to sleep in my courtroom. And she was like, had he simply asked her why she was so tired, he would know that they're experiencing homelessness. Girl.
I think people are failing to realize is like a lot of people are talking about the fact that the judge is Black. Like white supremacy, anti-Blackness, just global anti-Blackness and misogynoir. Black people are not immune to those things. So is it surprising that the judge is Black? No. It is not at all surprising that the judge is Black. I actually assumed the judge was Black when I heard that story.
Why is that?
Because of the behavior. The behavior to me very much sounded like, I know that I'm better than you. And a lot of that is rooted in this false sense of meritocracy that a lot of middle-class Black people have. I'm like, yeah, he thought you're here on some unknown program. He probably doesn't even freaking know what program brought her here. That must mean you're a Black kid in the hood. I'm better than you. I know better than you. So I'm going to teach you a lesson as a Black kid who's lesser than me. Yeah. So I am not surprised at all. America does not have nuanced conversations about race. So they cannot have a conversation about race and gender. So this is a judge who's a Black man, who's an older Black man, who's making contact where a little black girl, yes, she's 15, but she's very youthful looking, and who sees an opportunity to exert power and control over her.
Right.
So I am not surprised at all that he thought this was his opportunity to be big and bad. And also, I am not surprised at all that this would have never happened to a little white kid. No, he didn't
Mm.
ask her questions. And I think a lot of people, like, the mom was like, oh, he didn't ask her. He is never going to ask her a question because this is how anti-blackness works. He
Mm.
saw this kid and he presumed he already knew everything about her. And so, of course, he thought she had an attitude when she did not have one. Of course, he thought she was being disrespectful of the system by falling asleep. But those are not things that exist or happen because he was too busy or he didn't ask questions. Those are things that happen because people internalize anti-blackness and create assumptions about who's worthy and who's not worthy, who has an
Mm.
attitude and who does not, who is serious about the legal system and who does not, who can experience trauma by being put in a jailhouse outfit and who does not, and who needs to be taught quote unquote manners or decorum and who does not. So I don't believe that Kenneth King, and I'm not going to call him judge because he ain't nobody's judge because he got removed from the bench, rightfully so. I don't believe Mr. Former judge
Well,
really.
not former judge. He got put on suspension, but he hasn't been removed from the bench
He
yet.
hasn't been removed yet?
No.
Oh, hell. Oh, hell. Imagine if he had done that to a white kid. His ass would have been suspended, disbarred, fired. But in conclusion, I'm not surprised that he showed his ass. I am not surprised that he's black. The notion that he should have asked her questions is something that is rooted in a lack of understanding of feminist theory, black feminist theory. Like, folks need to read. Folks need to read really hard because if we read books, we would understand that people engage in conversation with people they humanize.
Mm.
And this man would never engage in a conversation with this young girl because he saw her as beneath him from jump. He never gave two. I mean, let's assume that he knew she was houseless. That would not have moved him differently. And I think that's what a lot of people are thinking. Oh my God, like maybe if he knew. No, 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 no. He went on this rant and berated her about her sleeping in her bed, and he probably would not have gone on this rant if he knew she was houseless. But he would not have handled her with any more care. He would have mishandled this girl from jump because he never saw her as deserving of shit.
Wow.
He never saw her as deserving of anything. And the thing that makes me really, really happy with the mother's lawsuit is that I'm hoping that she gets real big money, that she could find a way to have a stable home
Mm-hmm.
for herself and for her children and for this young girl, because no child should have to live with housing insecurity, because a lot of these programs that takes children to anti-black places like courthouses specifically prey on children
Mm-hmm.
who comes from economically disadvantaged families.
Right.
So I hope she gets her home. I hope she removes her
I
child
hope.
from all of these programs. And I hope that one day she gets a chance to go back and cuss the out of Kenneth King. Mhm.
Period.
Mhm.
I hope she also includes in the lawsuit whatever school and program took her child there, because I want to know what adult was there that didn't say no or stand up for her.
Probably white saviors.
Mm.
My guess is it would be white saviors.
Mm.
But also, this is the thing, like, we're talking about white saviorism. We also have to talk about the fact that exactly what I was talking about. White people don't know how to have nuanced conversation around race. So they probably saw the judge mishandling that girl and they're like, oh, this is how black people handle each other. We can't say nothing as white people because these are two black people, because they cannot understand that the judge's own internalized anti-blackness caused him to mishandle this girl. And when we talk about racism, right, we talk about racism, we talk about systemic racism, we're talking about systems of power, right? Now, as a black man, could he be racist towards this black girl? No. As a black man, could he weaponize a racist system against a black girl? Yes, he can. And he did. That's why he used his position of power within the white supremacist system to order a subordinate to arrest this black girl. Yeah. Just because black people cannot be racist because they do not hold systemic power does not mean that they do not have access to manipulate systemic power to oppress other black people. That's what all of the managers at Walmart do. That's what all of the managers at Amazon does. All the black managers at Walmart, all the black managers at Amazon, all the black managers in every workplace you've worked in.
Black law enforcement, black correction officers.
Yes, yes. You know what that is? That is a black person weaponizing systemic racism to violate other black people. That's what that is. So yeah, you can sit here on the sideline as a white savior and say, these are two Negroes, I don't know what to do. But if you understand and you read and you understand nuances and you understand how global anti-blackness work and internalized white supremacy works, you would have very much peeped that this is a gender oppressed black girl who is being disrespected, violated by a man who was given access to white supremacy. So f- him is what I gotta say, because I didn't cuss enough this episode. So f- Kenneth King. That's what I gotta say. I'm gonna let you say closing words or remarks about the situation, but this is yet another clown lawyer doing clown lawyer.
Correct. It's disgusting. I can't even think about how this has forever altered this little girl's life, how it's impacted the kids that were there witnessing it as well. But I also can't help but think, if this is how he was treating someone who was visiting his courtroom, imagine how he treats the real defendants in his courtroom. It makes my stomach hurt thinking about that.
Also, can we stop? This is why I hate the media and sensationalism. Can we stop acting like Kenneth King is the only person acting like
Correct.
that? I know in Broward County you see judges acting like Kenneth King every day. I know, I've seen them. And it's like, yes, this little girl's story deserves the spotlight because there's a story to be told. But we never do the work to analyze a system that allows somebody like Kenneth King to end up in a position that he is where he can do this. Because if we did, we would know that he ain't the only one.
Period.
Have you seen judges act like him in your courtrooms?
Okay.
That part. That part. That's the part we don't want to talk about. We don't want to talk about the fact that Kenneth King
is everywhere.
Kenneth King is a reflection of a systemic problem within the legal system. But I feel like we're sounding like broken records at this point. Because is we going to talk about this every week?
Especially when we started off this episode saying, oh, we're not that mad this week.
No, we're not mad. We're enraged.
At all times.
We are enraged. Listen to me. Can I tell you something? You need to have better control over me as my co-host and not let me say things like we are not mad. Because you know better than this.
I do know better. But I like the transition that the people get to witness of you starting off so demure, very cutesy, and then the build-up.
Okay, so you just like to work up my blood pressure is what
I'm here for it.
You're a terrible person. Terrible friend.
So with that, we wrap up Lawyers in the News.
Yes, we are.
And we throw just a little spiel, like you mentioned, about making sure that you see who it is that you're voting, that you're not voting just on presidential elections, you're voting for your officials, for your judges, because the one way to make sure that we are keeping our judges accountable is by letting them know that you're not going to put up with this kind of behavior. So, in Learning Out Loud, as we were scrolling, we came across the incident of the Wells Fargo worker who was found dead 4 days after clocking in to work.
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
First of all, let's say why we put in Learning Out Loud, right? Because I think when we first started this podcast, Learning Out Loud was very much about like us trying to see how we could talk to folks about the law and things like that. But as we have progressed, we've realized that there are so many life issues and so many real issues that we could all learn something from along the way. And I think when I think about the story of that woman, I think about so many lawyers, right? And then I also think about just us as like folks who engage in grind culture in general, right? The idea of going to a workplace every day for years. I'm sure she hadn't started working there 4 days ago, and dropping from the face of the earth, in her case, unfortunately, literally, and not have a person over the course of 4 whole days be like, yo, where's so and so? Let's call her family. Let's call, like, did they have PTO? Are they off? Like, for you to be part of the capitalist machine and be stripped of your humanity so much that so long as the machine is functioning, your absence will not even be noticed is wild. Also,
and the machine will always continue to function.
I mean, it literally did for 4 days, 4 whole days. Not even the stench of a dead body stopped the machine from working. Like, I think one of the things that caught my attention reading this is how little American workers have come to expect from these corporations who are enriching themselves off of us.
Right.
Because, okay, y'all didn't know it was a dead body, but it stunk up in that place and y'all still stay there. Like, you don't even have the and they were like, oh, we thought it was sewage. So you don't have the expectation that you would not be in a stinky workplace to earn a living? Like, you don't have an expectation. A corporation as massive as Wells Fargo would not place you in a building where you would smell sewage while you work? What has become of us? What has capitalism done to us that we would literally be in an office? Like, cubicle culture is wild. I remember every workplace that I've worked at, every morning I had the same routine. I grabbed my coffee and I walked the entire place saying hi to everybody. How did nobody walk past that woman's cubicle to even greet her?
Was she found? I don't think she was found in her cubicle, was she?
Yes.
It was at her cubicle?
Yes. That means for 4 whole days, no one stopped to say, hey, Susan. I don't know what her name was. Like, nobody stopped to even say hello. Also, what kind of funky ass, dirty ass Wells Fargo you got them working out of? Where the fuck is the cleaning staff? Wells Fargo! Nobody was cleaning this motherfucking building? Why the cleaning crew ain't
Didn't find her.
so many questions about how somebody could go 4 days without y'all noticing her ass is dead in there. But also, it's so sad.
So even though this sounds like we're ranting and what we're mad about, the reason, and you mentioned it, reason we put it in Learning Out Loud was solely for the purpose of reminding folks you need to take care of you, because when it comes down to it, the machine will not give a fuck about you. And it's about all the posts that I've been seeing, right, that I've scrolled past are posts that say, take care of yourself, take your holidays, take your PTO time, take your FMLA.
And also, like, I was not ranting. I was literally pointing out all the lessons like we could learn from this. Like, work culture has to shift. Like, we have to. The lesson here is care about your coworkers. If you work with somebody every day, greet them, give a about them. They are a human being who could literally die next door and you never notice. We really need to move more towards community care. For this woman to not have a single person in the office miss her for 4 days or go to greet her is a reflection of us and the work that we really need to do to move towards care.
Right. And I think 1,000%, I also think of how hard the system itself makes it for us to do that when we're so tired.
Of course.
Because, girl, when I think about, oh, should I go see my friend in the other building? In my head, I'm like, I'm so tired to even walk over there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, again, it goes back to the taking the PTO, taking the time, taking the lunch break. The one thing that I'm making sure that I'm doing more often is taking the lunch break, because I have a bad habit of sometimes just eating at my desk.
No, for sure, for sure. So my lesson, my learning out loud this week is pick up a book and learn about anti-capitalist framework.
Mm.
Our learning out loud is that our preservation and our humanity as people is contingent upon us learning to build a framework that is anti-capitalist. And I am more than happy to send you a whole bunch of books about anti-capitalism. Politics of care, of self-preservation, of arrest are all rooted in anti-capitalism because at its core, capitalism requires you to not care about yourself and others and only humanizes and see value in you when you are able to produce. So this woman, once her breath was cut short and her brain activity went to zero, she might as well have been a pile of garbage inside the Wells Fargo because they didn't give two shit about her.
I think you did a great point in highlighting that it's not just about taking the PTO, it's about caring. It's about going that extra step for our coworkers. And how it actually makes me think of how I'm less likely to do that when I'm exhausted.
Absolutely.
And then we tend to think like, oh, she's rude, she's doesn't talk to people. And really I'm just in my head thinking like, holy crap, I just did 3 hours in court running back and forth with clients, with the judge, with the state, and I'm exhausted. And we start to lose humanity that way.
Absolutely.
So that was a good reminder, even for me, from what you were saying.
Yeah. I mean, as a culture, I think we've shifted more and more away from community and care. Even when when I go home to my home country, the way in which like folks be cooking and be like, oh, I ran out of such and go ask the neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm missing an ingredient, go ask the neighbor. Or like, oh, you're visiting from out of town, go play with the neighborhood kids. We don't have that here.
Right.
We don't have that in the US. A lot of us don't have a relationship with our neighbors.
I lived in my neighborhood for like 11 years and I didn't know my neighbors. And the only time that we came together was there was a hurricane that happened. A huge tree blocked our street, and we all had to come together, grab machetes, grab chainsaws, and saw down the tree because nobody was coming. We were in the middle of the hurricane, and that's when we all met. Literally, that was our introduction 11 years after I moved there.
And that makes you think about so many things, right? Yes, it's true that your neighbors might be lovely people and you're missing out on building community with lovely folks. But also, if your neighbors are terrible people who are mistreating people in their home, like I will never forget that story one time of that little white girl who was being kept captive for years in a home in a residential neighborhood, and no one knew it until police raided that house years after. It's like, if we were more in each other's business, we might care for each other more. But also, if there's a weirdo on the block, we will know. You pick up on weird behaviors when you build community of care. And that picking up is what protects vulnerable people like the elderly, like children, from people who prey on them.
But it's why predators seek isolation, seek to isolate, or even abusive partners seek to isolate you. That's a really good point, Alex.
But also because of how we are building neighborhoods and creating, like, evolving in society, we are making it easier and easier and easier for them, you know? Yeah. I have a client this week that I've been working on who was trafficked for 4 years in a home in Palm Beach County. No one noticed. She made contact with Palm Beach police, with DCF, with church people, with school people. No one knew that this little girl was being trafficked. Why is that? We have become so detached from our humanity because all of our investment is in survival, is in laboring, is in making money. Like, whoever told us it was a good deal to work for 40 years and rest for 10 or 15 or whatever you have left after you retire? Yeah, I do know that the average life expectancy is like 75 and the retirement age is 65, right? Like, you're not getting a good deal.
Right.
We're not getting a good deal, friends. Anywho, the lesson really is we got to do better. This system is not working for us. Like, people are dying at their desk. We are missing out on opportunities to protect those of us who need protection. All in the name of what? Capital? So what are we really fighting for? Right. Mary, last words. I know I said that already, but take us out.
All right. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us today. Again, we hope you enjoyed it. It was intended to be a little bit more lighthearted, a little bit into what our conversations look like every single time we jump on a call. And yes, our conversations really do get this deep as well. So thank you for joining us. If you want to reach out to us, tell us about your stories, your scrolling out loud. If you want to send us your memes and the stories that you find, send it to our Instagram at L Out Loud Podcast. That's also our email, loutloudpodcast@gmail.com. We thank you and bye.
Bye.